In Part 10 of Module 10 on budgeting and sustainability, we'll discuss federal grants and aid for education, for transportation, and for the least advantaged.
Federal grants and aid are transfers of governmental revenues from the national to the state and local governments. There are a variety of types of federal grants. Categorical grants are when Congress appropriates funds for a specific purpose, such as school lunches or for building airports and highways, subject to detailed federal conditions, often on a matching basis. A formula grant is a grant given to state or local government to accomplish a national policy goal adopted by Congress. Competitive grants are grants made pursuant to a proposal in which the applicant designs a project and a funding agency ranks the proposals to provide grant awards in a competitive process. And block grants are broad grants to states for certain activities: welfare, child care, education, social services, preventive health care, and health services. Sustainable communities will require more energy-efficient modes of transportation. The cost of fossil energy is high, and vehicle emissions are a growing concern for climate change phenomena. Renewable energy and hybrid vehicles face escalating demand and short supply. Mass transportation systems might be one very important method of reducing the demand for fossil energy. Alternative energy mass transportation vehicles are becoming increasingly visible in society. Natural gas and clean diesel-powered buses are now quite common across the nation. Similarly, cutting-edge hydrogen-powered buses are part of several mass transportation demonstration projects in the U.S. and in several cities abroad. Nevertheless, it is fair to say that federal transportation-related grant trends would seem to provide more support for a tenuous status quo than promote more efficient and sustainable transportation schemes. Many states have instituted their own transportation and energy initiatives to counteract the rather tepid commitment of the federal government to support transportation policy renewal through grants and aid. Also, rebuilding city centers and developing high-concentration housing units, such as condos, may increase the use of public transportation and bring about subsequent reductions in reliance on the personal automobile. Education grants have risen steadily since 1990. Money for education workforce enhancement and training has risen most noticeably. In large part, these grants have resulted from an increased emphasis on teacher quality and retention. Education and social services funding has increased in response to a new awareness of the relationship between educational achievement and the social conditions of student learners. Federal funding for special education and the education of the disadvantaged is a significant portion of the federal funds transferred to states and local governments in the form of grants and aid. Noticeably, money for school building improvement has declined, despite increased awareness of classroom overcrowding and school building disrepair. School building infrastructure grants are not only an important part of current education quality, but they are also critical to the sustainability of public schools as a core element of civic infrastructure. Federal grants for public health services for the least well-off in society are critical in efforts to create and maintain sustainable communities. A community's level of success or failure depends on the achievement of both individual and collective goals. While individual goals may be highly varied, collective goals are defined by what we share in our common responsibility to one another. Recognition of our collective commitment legitimizes the social contract to which we have agreed. Our commitment to the neediest members of our society is and always will be a work in progress as we learn more about the nature of our society and the social ills shaped by our demographic, socioeconomic, political, and even environmental change. In dollar terms alone, there has been a growing commitment to serving the needs of the least advantaged. Since 1990, the federal grant commitment has more than quadrupled and will likely rise even more significantly in the years ahead. While a strong commitment is noteworthy, federal grants and aid will continue to be necessary as states and local communities struggle to establish sustainability along multiple dimensions. In Part 11 of Module 10 on budgeting and sustainability, we'll discuss federal grants and aid for children, families, and veterans, and for hope and corrections.